Hey guys, welcome back to Pristine's Reads. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Princess Spy by Melanie Dickerson, Book 5 in the Hagenheim series. This is the super spoiler version. If you want the no spoilers version, please check out my no spoiler video. Anyways, this book got shipped to my house earlier than it said it would. It said it would get shipped in May, but now it's here and I'm so excited. So anyways, let's get to it. Okay, so first I'm going to give you the overall summary. So this book is a retelling of The Frog Prince. So it opens up by introducing us to Lady Margaretha, the second eldest daughter of the Duke and Duchess of Hagenheim. Margaretha is innocent and she thinks her greatest fault is that she's too talkative and she can't keep a secret. She loves her family very much and wants to stay in Hagenheim always with them and hopes that she will be able to marry close to home. Then we meet her newest suitor, Lord Claybrook, from England. Margaretha hopes that Lord Claybrook will be the one after a long line of suitors who seem to care nothing about her, just her money and her titles and possessions. But while Claybrook is staying in Hagenheim Castle, Margaretha sees a young man unconscious, beaten up, and bruised being taken to their castle healer's cottage. Her curiosity is sparked, and Margaretha follows the people who are taking the young man to the cottage. At first she thinks this young man is delirious and mad, having hit his head and then he can't talk properly. But she figures out that he cannot speak German, which is the language they speak where she lives, medieval Germany in the Holy Roman Empire, but that he can only speak English. Fortunately, Margaretha is the only one in her family who has kept up her fluent knowledge of the English language, so she's able to communicate with the stranger. She finds out that the stranger's name is Colin after a lot of coaxing and prying it out of him. She finds out that Colin Lee Weiss is the son of an English earl. Ironic that he happens to come around at the same time Lord Claybrook is here. And that Colin has come to Hagenheim to search for the man who had beaten him up, left him for dead, and had also murdered his best friend and murdered Colin's sister's friend just because the man got his sister's friend with child and then killed her. So that was complicated, but yeah. Okay, so it turns out that this man is Lord Claybrook, and Colin is horrified when he finds out that Lord Claybrook is Margaretha's newest suitor. So he asks Margaretha to spy on Lord Claybrook for him, and Margaretha hesitates, thinking that she might not be able to keep the secret. After all, she thinks she talks too much and is too chatty. But in the end, she decides to accept the assignment, as she thinks this will finally prove that she can, in fact, keep a secret, and that she would make a good spy. So Margaretha spies on Lord Claybrook and his meeting with one of his head knights, and then she finds out that Lord Claybrook is planning to besiege Hagenheim Castle and overthrow the Gerstenberg family and kill Duke Wilhelm, which is Lady Margaretha's father. Duke Wilhelm and the rest of his knights are away in the north investigating the rumor of a band of robbers. So when Margaretha hears this, she is shocked and terrified and runs to Colin, telling him what she knows. Colin says that they need to leave Hagenheim Castle immediately and go seek for help. But while they are carting her family out of the castle, Claybrook's knights find them out and bring Margaretha's family back to the castle. However, Colin and Margaretha manage to escape through a secret tunnel in the castle dungeon and make their way to Marienburg with Margaretha's cousin Anne, who happened to be visiting them at the time of the attack. They drop Anne off at her parents' house and continue on to Marienburg, where they have strong allies there who will help them. But on the way there, they realize that they have grown feelings for each other, but Colin is hesitant to ask Margaretha to marry him, as Anne told him that she will never leave her family to go live somewhere far away. And Margaretha is hesitant to feel anything towards Colin because she thinks he might find her too annoying, that he doesn't love her, or that he doesn't love her and she will not be able to leave her family to go live in England. However, all of that is put from their minds as Lord Claybrook's knights are hard on their trail, and they have had several close calls so far. Claybrook's knights capture Margaretha when she's by herself one day, and then take her back to Hagenheim Castle. Colin immediately follows behind once he realizes Margaretha is missing. And once Margaretha is back at Hagenheim Castle, Lord Claybrook has the castle completely under his control and forces Margaretha to marry him. Her mother tries to take her place as they are both the same height, build, and they look pretty similar, but Claybrook is not fooled and forces the priest to marry him and Margaretha. However, Lord Claybrook is also drunk and poisoned by some of the serpents, and he gets sick just in time as Margaretha escapes from the castle again, and then finds Colin, her father, and her older brother and their company of knights, along with Colin's father and all of his knights coming to save Hagenheim Castle. Margaretha is thrilled to see them, and Colin defeats Lord Claybrook in one-on-one combat, but spares Claybrook his life. Eventually, he asks Margaretha if she will marry him, and she accepts, now knowing that her love for Colin is strong enough to go to England and leave her family. So they get married, and yeah, it's happily ever after. Lord Claybrook is defeated. The end of the summary, that is. Now on to the morals. First up is Christian beliefs / other worldviews. Again, I love the way Melanie Dickerson applies a clear portrayal of the Christian faith to real life and relationships. And there's also a really good lesson about not taking revenge on your enemies. And yeah, I found no other prominent worldviews displayed here. Next up is violence. There are a few battles here, and there's a pretty vivid description of Colin when he was beat up and bloody at the beginning of the book, so I would advise mild caution if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff. But yeah, again, the book is not centered around the battles, but there were a few of them in there. And yeah, that's it. Next is romance. Again, I think this book was one of the more lower romance levels of the Hagenheim series that I've read so far. There was nothing inappropriate. Again, it's very clean, and there was one mention of Lord Claybrook getting Colin's sister's friend with child, but it was only like one passing mention, and I wasn't given any more detail on that. So yeah, next up is alcohol. Lord Claybrook gets drunk once on wine, and that's it. Nothing much more. Next is drugs. Lord Claybrook gets poisoned. Of course, the poison was in his wine when he drank it, and then he spent the rest of the night throwing up. But yeah, that's it. So now I'm going to give you my rating and recommended age level. I'm so proud to rate this 5 stars. I loved it so much. Recommended age level is 12 to 13 plus. Again, I'm lowering it from my 13 to 14 plus age rating previously, because I think that the lower romance level makes it a bit more suitable for a slightly younger audience to read. But again, parents, please use discretion based on what I've said in this video. And yeah, Can't wait to read the rest of the series. My dad is making me read and review them one at a time. So, yeah, I need to get started on the next book. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Bye! Margareta crept out of her brother's chamber and tiptoed closer. She pressed her body against the wall in a particularly dark nook and listened. "Tell Reginald I'll speak with him an hour after sunrise in the apple orchard."
I'll be there too, but not to speak, to eat.
"Yes, my lord." Margareta hurried back to her brother's chamber and hid inside until the guard walked past. When his footsteps had faded, she darted out and hurried back to her own chamber on the other side of the castle. Her heart was still pounding sickeningly against her ribs as she sank down on her bed. "I can hardly wait to tell Colin," she whispered, "that I spied and eavesdropped on Lord Claybrook." Her heart soared and she giggled.
My heart is soaring too. I'll get to eat an entire apple orchard.